So ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a brand new DC News Roundup video, and I'm sorry that I haven't posted in a few days. I've been kind of a bit busy, but I am here to update you all on some brand new things that interest me, talking about Superman. James Gunn has even responded to the situation going on with the leaks with a bit of an interesting answer that could make us rethink a few things. There's new set photos, there's stuff going on maybe with Krypto and Mr. Terrific, but then we're getting into some other bits of news that I need to catch up on, such as, is Batman reportedly, apparently, is it true, appearing in the Penguin? We're getting into Joker 2, and also some really fascinating stuff with Batman Caped Crusader, with what we found out from a recent interview, which has me pretty excited at the concept of it, among other things that I'm sure I'm forgetting about right now. So guys, if you want to stay up to date with everything brand new like this, consider subscribing to the channel. I know I keep saying it, but a lot of you keep coming back each and every video, each and every month, and according to my screen right here, not subscribed is 48.6% of you. So maybe today is the day you will subscribe. Like this video if you do continue to enjoy it. Dislike it if you just don't like it, why not? And of course, video chapters to the timestamps in this video are in the description box. So, starting off today, we need to get into what James Gunn has to say about Superman. As you guys know, we've been getting Superman set photos. It's been pretty crazy. They're very, very busy filming on the streets of Metropolis. We've talked about that quite a bit. There hasn't been any, what I would say, crazy new set photos coming out other than, seeing Superman getting ready to fly, maybe holding onto something that could be a car or something else. Obviously, they put something above him that was fairly lightweight with two people holding it, but we've got some great edits of that from Julian Bell and John Regan here, just kind of giving you a glimpse at what that could look like in the movie. It's great stuff. But other than that, we're going to dive into a bit of a Krypto situation in a second with a video clip that I can use, which is really interesting, and I would love to get your thoughts on that down in the comments below when we get to that. We have this user saying to Gunn, any thoughts on the set leaks? And he says, fully expected. Okay, fair enough. I mean, obviously, if you're James Gunn shooting Superman in, very public view to the point of where anyone from passers-by can get photos on their phone, it is something you would expect. But the next answer is what intrigued me even more. So another user said, so the movie hasn't been irrevocably spoiled because of the set leaks. And you guys know which kind of set photos and videos we're talking about, especially with how that links in with the Ulysses/Ultraman rumor going on. And this is fascinating. This is fascinating because Gunn says, not even a little. I'd never shoot a big spoiler outside in the middle of the city. And I think that was honestly a direct reference to those particular spoilers that we've covered. Well, are they even spoilers? James Gunn saying that, hey, I can talk about this because they're not big spoilers. But I do think it is a reference to the Ultraman stuff going on. And he is basically saying that not even a little. So it's not even remotely been irrevocably spoiled because of any of the stuff that you've seen online, because he would never shoot a big spoiler outside in the middle of the city, which is now making people think, okay, so maybe the theory of Ultraman and everything like that with certain set photos out there were perhaps what some people were mentioning, a bit of a red herring. So just in case you don't want to be spoiled on this particular bit, because I might show a couple of photos on screen, I will recommend skipping to the next timestamp, which if you hover over the video bar, you can see, or go down in the description box below. But just 3, 2, 1. So apparently, this isn't a big spoiler being filmed. Now, of course, I need to entertain the idea of maybe, I don't want to say like, is Gunn coping here, but it could be a bit of wordplay, as we're very familiar with James Gunn, in how he's maybe trying to play down that scene, maybe trying to make you forget about it a little bit by saying that it's not a big spoiler outside in the middle of the city. It's not even a little bit spoiled in terms of it being irrevocably spoiled. But, I will still say it could be a bit of a spoiler, because after all, in these set photos that we've already gone over a bit on the channel, Superman is handcuffed. He's arrested. You have the engineer there. You have Rick Flag Sr. there. And this Black Noir-esque figure that everyone keeps calling him is the man doing that with a bit of backup. I mean, obviously you have the engineer there. You could say that he's working with the engineer. I know a lot of people have tossed out the idea of, oh man, I think this is Midnighter, but I absolutely don't think that's the case. And I know I always say adaptations don't copy and paste, they can innovate, and that includes costume design. So if this is a mixture of Ultraman / Ulysses, obviously it's still kind of unique to their take. But the thing is, if they were going to do Midnighter in the DCU, which, you'd have to think they will because we're getting the Authority movie, that is, I'm not saying I'm a costume designer, but in terms of their ability, costume designers, that is an easy comic book accurate costume to pull off in live action. I mean, think how, accurate they've been with Superman, think how accurate they've been with Mr. Terrific. Doing Midnighter, there would be absolutely no reason to make him look like this in a kind of Black Noir-esque getup. Like, no reason at all. Plus, the U on his chest doesn't match. So, I get why people were kind of saying that in just like a base level idea because, hey, the engineer's there. We know that maybe the Authority isn't a group that's established in the DCU as of right now, but we're going to get the movie. So Maria Gabriela de Vries, the engineer character, will be staying on. She'll be reprising her role throughout that of the DCU. And maybe this is one of her other Authority members. But no, I really don't think so. So this is a bit of a situation of, is Gunn playing it down a bit? I think he is, in full transparency here. I don't blame him. I do partially believe what he's saying in terms of how this might not be as big of a spoiler as what everyone thought. But nevertheless, this is still a scene of Superman getting arrested. We know that he's getting arrested for one reason or the other. That is not good. So that means we can logically deduce here that Superman is being framed for something because he obviously wouldn't do something worthy of getting arrested. But again, with all of that involved, I would still say that's kind of spoilerish, knowing that Superman does get arrested. And I guess now this leaves it up in the air of what you think this, or who you think this character is, if it's not a huge spoiler. I mean, we need to kind of look at the conclusion at the end of the day. Even though Gunn is saying this, it doesn't mean that this character isn't large in the movie. He's just being insistent that nothing big has been spoiled. But that's kind of true because we do not know exactly the identity of who this character is. Obviously, there's ideas out there. No, it's Ulysses. No, it's Ultraman. No, it's a mix of both of them, of which I kind of maybe go for a little bit. But without confirmation and just seeing a set photo, obviously we can't be sure. So technically, has it been spoiled outside of the scene itself? But I don't know. I've been rambling for quite a while. I would say that it was fairly spoilerish, but Gunn is pretty damn insistent that the movie is not even spoiled a little bit. So what do you think is really going on in this scene? If you've had any extra theories, let me know down in the comments below. As I was recording this video as well, we had this video taken by a user who wishes to remain anonymous, but as you can tell, it's blatantly a rig test with some stand-in actors for Lois and Clark. This is probably one of those moments in where you get a little bit of a romantic float, if you will, between Superman and Lois. I'm not sure if this is in the Daily Planet building, but either way, I thought it was something cool to chuck in here. And also from Greater Cleveland Partnership, they've just taken a new photo of a brand new Metropolis building that we have on set, and that is of Stag Industries. Now, this is pretty cool because Rex Mason, who is Metamorpho, has major links to Simon Stagg, worked for Simon Stagg, and I think we are getting possibly some Metamorpho set footage today. If that is the case, I'll probably follow it up. There are some photos floating around already of somebody in a complete blue suit. It's almost motion capture-y, but yeah, he's completely blue, so you can't really tell. But yeah, I am wondering quite a bit about Metamorpho in this movie. I have been saying for a while, are any of the metahuman compatriots in this film having an origin story? Because that's a possibility. Sure, Mr. Terrific is an active hero, same as Superman, likely Guy Gardner, but what about Hawkgirl, Metamorpho? Could Rex Mason be created in this film? Maybe, maybe not, but either way, I'm looking to find out and see how deep the Simon Stagg or Stagg Industries link goes. And up next, in another Gunn reply, we have Millie Alcock is apparently rumored to currently be in Cleveland for Superman, and of course she was cast as Kara Zor-El, and Gunn said nope, never has been here unless she's vacationing in Cleveland and hasn't told me. Now, I do think this is true. However, this doesn't mean that Millie Alcock will not be appearing in the movie. In fact, I'm very confident that she will be. Now, the question is, will it be like a scene throughout the first couple of hours of the movie? I've always envisioned that she's on Earth already and she could just have like a, catch-up scene with Clark. Again, you can write something better in your head, but nothing too significant. Or are they going to reserve it for like a mid-credit scene? Because I do believe that since this is, after all, a cinematic universe, I'm not saying they're going to go true like cinematic universe formula with every project, but that that doesn't mean that they're not going to give a little bit of a teaser for that connected story. One thing I do want to remind people of is when Gunn announced Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, he says, in our series, we see the difference between Superman, who was sent to Earth and raised by loving parents from the time he was an infant, versus Supergirl, who was raised on a rock, a chip off of Krypton, right? And watched everyone around her die and be killed in terrible ways. And this is the most important bit, for the first 14 years of her life, and then came to Earth when she was a young girl. So the thing is, Millie Alcock in real life is 24. I know she played a younger character compared to that of her age in House of the Dragon, but I don't think she's going to be playing a 14-year-old who's freshly just come to Earth. So when Gunn specifically says here, she watched everyone around her die and be killed in terrible ways for the first 14 years of her life and then came to Earth when she was a young girl, I think that was in the past few years. So maybe Kara has aged up to like 17, 18 there, and Millie Alcock is reflecting a Kara of that age. But again, I don't think she's going to be playing a 14-year-old. So if you kind of want to go down my line of thinking there, I think she's already on Earth, already been on Earth for at least a few years, potentially. Superman has been doing his Superman stuff, and he's probably helped her try to integrate herself into Earth's culture, because that's one big thing that's different about Kara and Clark, which will definitely, in my opinion, springboard her into that Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow storyline to kind of help her find her identity, is that Clark, although he is an alien and he's Kryptonian, he's raised like a human, from watching TV as a freaking baby to a toddler, to going to the public school system, to then going to college, then, you know, becoming Superman, but getting a Daily Planet reporter job. Do you know what I mean? He's very familiar and doesn't really know anything other than maybe what's come out the Fortress of Solitude in terms of alien stuff. Whereas Kara, imagine growing up in an alien society for the first 14 years of your life, roughly. You don't know anything about Earth's culture. This is a great kind of displacement feeling for her character to, let's just say the mid-credit scene is Clark going out with her for a coffee or something like that, and the lines are something like, I'm still not used to it, Clark. Again, this is just off the top of my head, but that is the mid-credit scene, and it obviously propels you into looking forward to the next summer's movie, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. But I have no doubt that she's already on Earth and just struggling to somewhat fit in, and that is going to be a nice little jumping board for her own story the following year. So let me know if you think she's going to have like a scene throughout the film. Maybe she's at the Kent farm and Clark goes there in the movie, as we know is going to happen because we've literally seen the Kent farm now. Or do you think they're just going to reserve it for a mid-credits role at the very end of the film? Now, just before we get onto the Krypto footage, I guess you could say, we have this user saying, is Superman set in 2021? And Gunn said no. Other users are saying, is it set in 2027? Gunn has said time and time again, it is set in present day. You know, Creature Commandos is set in present day. He said that as well. And I think people just keep asking this because of those dates on the newspaper, and where there's like a May 13th or whatever it was, or September, whatever it was, but it didn't have the year on it. So people were like, okay, when was the last day or the last year when there was a May 13th? And then they go back to 2021, etc., etc. I don't think it's that deep. I mean, those newspapers, all while they are probably canon to the universe of Superman flying cancer patients to Egypt, to him stopping that train and saving a bunch of people. That's all cool set dressing stuff, but I wouldn't like zoom in on the day and be like, well, the last time May 13th was, or whatever it was on 2021. So that must mean it's set there, or a couple of years into the future in 2027. We shouldn't pay that much attention to it. It is present day, so just in case anyone is still wondering that, it's going to be in 2024/2025. So now let's talk about Krypto. This is something I haven't got to in the past few days, and just like minor spoiler warning, because this isn't confirmed. It's just a set video of Mr. Terrific jumping up and down, but just in case you don't want to know anything or get into my theories, go to the next timestamp in this video. But here we have a video from SlimJoc on Twitter, who allowed me to use it, and I know many of you are familiar with this video already because it shows Mr. Terrific with a box of treats. He goes up to the pet store in Metropolis. It's been broken into, and the idea is that Krypto goes in there, he comes out, and Mr. Terrific tracks him. He's holding some kind of device. It could just be a phone with like a tag on the collar or something like that, and he keeps going up and down the street, and he throws out these little kind of bone treats to the what we can imagine is an invisible CGI dog, and he keeps jumping up, and you can very, very, very clearly see him go like this with his finger. He's trying to, like, he throws him a treat. He's like, come on. up there. And obviously, the only conclusion that I think most of us can come to is that he's trying to get Krypto to take off and fly away. Now, this could be for many reasons, like obviously having a Krypto the super dog break into a store on the street, smash the glass is a bit disastrous, so Mr. Terrific, a superhero in of his own right, is set to babysitting. I don't know, because obviously, you know, it's not great having a super dog break into a store on a public street in Metropolis. He's pretty dangerous. You know, he can be dangerous at least. Some people are saying, what if he's trying to save Superman from the spoiler scene that we talked about earlier? But again, I don't think that would happen, because Clark, if he's allowing himself to be put into that situation, if you know what I mean, he wouldn't just like break out of that situation. So we don't really know why, you know, Krypto is here. And I know I keep saying it as if we know for a fact, but I just, come on, like this is so obvious that he's trying to get Krypto. He's interacting with him to try and make him fly away. Now, there is an additional theory, because right at the end of this video, we see that after Mr. Terrific is jumping up and down, trying to make Krypto fly off, and he's not really having it, he kind of like looks down at his foot and he kind of exclaims, like screams out in a bit of pain. And that is because people are thinking that Krypto uses his heat vision to laser a little bit of a hole in Mr. Terrific's foot. Now, how do we know this? That is because in other set photos, we see that Mr. Terrific, granted that it was filmed beforehand, so, you know, they don't shoot movies in order. Before they were filming this Krypto scene of him throwing the treats out, there was a set photo of a bandage on his foot. And that is exactly, you know, really linking to this scene right here when he's like, you know, like that, because imagine getting a, you know, acute laser hole on your foot. That would be very, very painful. Now, why would Krypto do that? I honestly don't know. Maybe he's not familiar with Mr. Terrific. Maybe this Krypto, the super dog, hasn't had superpowers for a very long time. Maybe he's a bit scared. It's too hard to know. But either way, I actually do very much so believe that theory, and how we have him break into the store. Mr. Terrific tries to get him to fly in the air. He's a bit annoyed by this strange, you're not Kal-El. What do you want to... And just completely, you know, heat visions his foot a little bit. Now, I do have some theories with this with regards to how, you know, of course, we don't know the origin story with Krypto. I mean, you know, he can obviously come from Krypton, but I don't know if that's going to be the case. You know, they do switch it up in Titans when they were creating Superboy. They obviously had Krypto as another test subject of Superman's DNA. So I'm just saying, if you want to look into the Ultraman theories, the Ulysses theories, it is a possibility that maybe Krypto could be introduced in this movie and Clark hasn't had him up until this point. Because what if, in order to create Ultraman, or whatever the heck is going on with that part of this movie, Luthor Corp, Lex Luthor himself, had to experiment using Superman's DNA with other test subjects. Again, similar to Titans is what you're seeing on screen right now. And, you know, it gave the ability for a dog to have Kryptonian powers. And as a bit of this fallout, Superman takes in Krypto because, you know, you can't exactly leave this kind of dog on the street. And, you know, since he's got Kryptonian abilities, who better to handle him other than Superman himself? I am wondering if in the reporter side of this movie, they kind of break into learning a bit more about what Lex Luthor was up to, who this Black Noir-esque figure was, and, you know, they learn more and more on how there's other test subjects out there, maybe an animal, and maybe that of a dog. Now, my theory there may be completely false, but I would love to know your thoughts on that. But undoubtedly here, even though there's no motion cap going on, which is interesting, I don't see how you can take this Mr. Terrific scene as anything else. He has a box of treats. He's literally throwing the treats out to something invisible, and he's signaling for this thing, this animal perhaps, to jump up into the air and fly away. We also do have Gunn saying that there is no casting for the voice of Krypto, with another rumor coming out. And that could be because, well, A, he might not talk, so that's something. B, if he does, they might have already found that actor, since, you know, after the video we just saw, it seems that Krypto is in this movie, so they might already have their person. There is no C. So, you know, either Krypto isn't going to talk, or he can, and that relates to why there is no casting for the voice of Krypto. Now, we do have some other little tidbits of Hawkgirl touching down in Cleveland, so she's definitely there to shoot her scenes, and I'm wondering if by the time I post this video, are we going to get a look at the Hawkgirl suit? Knowing my luck, I don't know. Obviously, if something like that happens, I will do a follow-up video, but, you know, we could be getting even more because they're not done shooting just yet outside, and there are videos of spotting Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner on set, albeit completely cloaked up. Like, I can't show the video anyway, but there's nothing to even show because you can just about make Nathan Fillion out getting into a car after they shot a scene down an alleyway. So they probably shot a Guy Gardner scene with him in the suit, and that would have been awesome to get a little glimpse of it, but we got nothing. Honestly, you can barely make him out under that big-ass hood that he's wearing. So, you know, keep your eyes peeled because we could be getting some set photos of other heroes in the next few days, maybe. Now, in some other news, one thing I've kept seeing online, going everywhere with outlets reporting saying Batman is set to appear in The Penguin, or Robert Pattinson confirmed to be playing, Batman or Bruce Wayne in The Penguin, and they all cite the source of Jeff Snyder. Now, Jeff Snyder is and has been pretty accurate in the past, but this particular rumor, I'm not trying to, be a party pooper here. Nothing is confirmed. Now, it's not that I don't think Bruce Wayne could appear in The Penguin or maybe a Batman scene, and I think it would maybe likely be more of a Batman scene given the nature of the show. I think Batman is more relevant to pop up rather than the Bruce Wayne persona, unless there's like a news report with some recycled footage from the first movie that they want to do. But getting back to it, nothing has been confirmed here. I went to the source of it, and it came from the Hot Mic podcast. And we had John Roker read out a super chat asking if Jeff Snyder knows any more or anything about Pattinson being in The Penguin. And he simply answered in the way where it's like, I think that's been confirmed. There was no like, oh yeah, I've heard from a really good source that, Robert Pattinson is set to appear in The Penguin. Just you wait. You heard it here first. It is happening. Even though some of you think it's already happening, I know it's happening. It wasn't like that. He was asked, the super chat, and they read it out, and he was like, yeah, I think that's been confirmed that, and then it gets cut off a little bit, but that's his own opinion. That's him being like, yeah, I think that's been confirmed. Maybe that was, I read it somewhere else and I think that's been confirmed. But yeah, this is me saying I think it's nothing deeper than that whatsoever. Again, I really, really hope that Batman does make an appearance. There's so many instances in where I can imagine it, because versus Bruce Wayne and there being some news reports or whatever, his character isn't so applicable to having a scene with Oswald Cobblepot, but Batman dropping in, wearing the suit in a scene, establishing that new status quo is what I keep saying, because there will be one. He's the new kingpin of Gotham, and Batman, is observing this, and there's a bit of a conversation or whatever you want to say about it, but that, Batman appearing would be the most likely option for me, but we just don't know if that will be the case. I really hope it is, but I just wanted to clear this up and, show you the source that if you've read all of those tweets or Instagram accounts saying that Robert Pattinson is confirmed to be in The Penguin, source being Jeff Snyder, that was never confirmed, really. It just seems to be his opinion. Speaking of which, I've had a lot of people reach out to me with regards to the Batman Part 2 and Joker, because Barry Keoghan put on his Instagram a little picture of a Joker card, on the board of a cafe. It's advertising iced coffee. There's a bit of a Mad Hatter reference here. We're all mad here. And people are like, oh my God, is Barry Keoghan referencing his return, teasing his return with Mad Hatter in the Batman Part 2? Mad Hatter's already been a theory of a character who could be the next Rogues Gallery villain. Guys, with this one, me, I like to reach and speculate a lot, but I honestly think Barry Keoghan, if I was Barry Keoghan and I played Joker in the Batman, and I know I'm coming back to play Joker in Part 2 because he's very evidently teased that in other interviews. Do you remember the one where he was just like, my smile says it all, you know what I mean, when being asked if he's going to come back? Well, this one, if I was going to a cafe, I saw that you know, the dude probably just ordered a coffee, and he was just like, yeah, I'll take a picture of this and put it on my Instagram. It's really not deeper than that. Now, as for some Joker 2 news, we have some new rumors suggesting, after a test screening that happened a while ago, the latest rumor is that the final version of the movie could be 2 hours and 20 minutes. And this is just a little tidbit, but I think that's a decent runtime. I mean, the movie is going to be jam-packed with quite a lot, you know, musical numbers, apparently up to 15 of them, a few original songs, a bit of a duet, but 2 hours and 20 minutes with including the musical therapy scenes in Arkham of how Harleen and Joker meet, and then obviously getting to the trial of Arthur Fleck and the scenes within the courtroom and District Attorney Harvey Dent trying to completely slam down Arthur Fleck for killing Murray Franklin and the Wayne employees in the first movie, to the explosion that we saw in the trailer, to him escaping out in Gotham. That, you know, 2 hours and 20 minutes does feel like a good runtime of what I envision and picture up for Joker 2, especially with, you know, dream sequences somewhat kind of, I wouldn't say interrupting, but distracting from the plot at hand, if they're just kind of go into their own little creative bubble of folie de shared madness. And lastly, ladies and gentlemen, this is an update on Batman Caped Crusader, and I really like what is being teased here, because I am a sucker for early days Batman, you know, just how raw he is, still finding himself, a Batman who's still becoming, and it turns out that is very much so where Batman is at in Caped Crusader. So we already covered the trailer in a reaction that I uploaded the other day, which was a part of a news roundup video. I know some of you didn't realize it was in that video, but go check it out if you haven't already. But here we have Bruce Timm talk a little bit more about Caped Crusader, and this is from Empire Magazine, saying it's not just the noirish locales and streaming delivery that will mark Caped Crusader out as a distinct Bat series. It's one that gets into the earliest days of Wayne's nocturnal crime-fighting exploits. Batman is so early in his career that in the first episode, he's still an urban myth. It's not year one, he notes, it's more like week 2. Now, honestly, I love that. I love that in the show, especially with what we see in the trailer. You have these kind of thugs be terrified of, like, wait, who is that? What's going on? And I know this is a Batman trope that we've seen time and time again, but with this new period piece, to the point of where the Batcave doesn't have any computers in it, it's like a library. There's like these chemistry stations for, you know, detective stuff that goes on. I do feel like it's a refreshing take to do a week 2 Batman on. And they continue to say that this Bruce isn't just figuring out how to be Batman, he's going to be a different kind of Batman to the one audiences are used to seeing on screen. I wanted to kind of make him weird and spooky, Tim explains. If you're stuck in a room with Batman, whether you're Commissioner Gordon or Barbara Gordon or Renee Montoya, you don't feel comfortable. You're kind of like, what is this guy? What's this all about? That even extends to one of the Bat's closest allies, faithful butler, Alfred. He weaponizes Alfred, Tim says of this Bruce Wayne. He's not Batman's surrogate father anymore. He's a guy that's going to enable him to fight crime. That's how focused Bruce is. It's a weird take on him, but it's something I don't think we've seen before. So just wanted to provide you guys some extra details. I'm very hyped to see this series. You know, I like what they're switching up and how this, I mean, sure, I'm a bit apprehensive of some things and I'm going to wait to see how they flesh out, but it really does feel justified in its new ways of exploring a week 2 Batman, flipping some of the characters and changing them up a bit, although there's obviously still such echoes of the core character traits there, with Harvey Dent and Harley Quinn and the new things they're doing with them. I can't wait for the Clayface episode. That looks so good. I could talk about this forever, but yeah, this has just got me excited a little bit more. I already kind of picked up that Batman was fairly early on, considering that the police department, GCPD, were like, who is this guy? We need to take him down and whatnot. So it always felt a bit early days, but now we know it's week 2. So I'd love to know any and all thoughts that you have with this latest teaser for Batman Caped Crusader. But with that being said, guys, at least for now, unless I edit this video again in the future to inject some more stuff in, that is all the stories I wanted to get into in today's video. So let me know your thoughts on absolutely everything. I'll keep my eyes locked to that comment section and interact with quite a few of you. Do consider liking this video if you did enjoy it. I know everyone asked you to do that, but it takes 2 seconds of your time. And of course, why not subscribe for more news-filled videos just like this? But I'm going to love you and leave you. So again, thank you so much for your time. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you people of the DC Universe in the next video. Goodbye.